Britain's Got Talent is officially back with a brand new series, and last night was the big premiere for Series 18. And let me tell you, it was an absolutely fantastic premiere episode. We had so many acts on the show, so much variety. But not only that, not one, but two golden buzzers were given out last night, meaning we've already got our two semi-finalists for the upcoming live shows in a few months' time. But we've got a lot to talk about in this week's first recap of the Britain's Got Talent Series 18. So without any further ado, let's get straight into the video. So yes, Britain's Got Talent is officially back now. It premiered last night, its big premiere episode, and honestly, it was absolutely fantastic. We've got a lot of acts to go through. We had 9 acts in total. One was rejected, sadly, and it was just a fantastic premiere episode. Like, already I think this year is going to be really, really good. I'm so excited to see the talent this year. It just looks fantastic. So, as you know, throughout the competition, we had a guest. We have a guest judge for this year's series, and that is KSI, like I mentioned. Hang on. For context, for those who don't know, in the first 2 tapings that they did in Blackpool, Bruno wasn't there, so KSI basically filled in for those 2 days, and then I think he was supposed to do it again the day, but they got postponed on the third day because of Liam Payne's death, and Simon literally had to halt the auditions and just step down for a bit. I know they did like one a few days, I think a week or a few days afterwards, and Simon wasn't there. It was just Bruno, Amanda, Alicia, and KSI. That was all. But yeah. So that was that, and then that was really it. And then once they started filming, Bruno was officially back for the January audition. So yeah, so that's really that. So that's why. But we'll definitely see KSI throughout throughout the audition stage. Do I think he's going to make the live semi-finals as a panelist? I would hope so as a 5th judge, but at this point I'm really, really unsure. So I'm excited. I'm intrigued to find out when we get any information. But regardless, I don't know. But anyways, without any further ado, let's get straight into this week's recap of the premiere episode of Britain's Got Talent Series 18 for 2025. Let's get into it. So the first episode. If we can get up, it's maybe a little bit. So here we go. So the first act we're going to talk about is Rumak, which his real name I'm not even going to pronounce because it's Scottish. I'm very bad at pronouncing names, but his stage name is Rumak, and he's an accordion player and singer, and hailing from Hartlepool. And I will say, my first impressions of this act was, okay, he came out, I wasn't too sure what he was going to do. I was thinking maybe a comedian, and then he got the accordion out. I was like, oh, okay, he got accordion out. Maybe he's going to do comedy, singing, like musical comedy or something. So that was my first impression on everything. Then, kind of like, so to begin the performance, he played "Time to Say Goodbye," which is the Andrea Botticelli and Sarah Brightman song, and kind of like a melody similar to that to that of the bagpipes on his accordion. I think he had like an option to have the bagpipes on his accordion, and then he literally switched up and started singing and playing "Yes Sir, I Can Boogie" by Baccara. Now, honestly, while he had a decent singing voice, maybe not the strongest, but the atmosphere he brought to the room was absolutely insanity. Like, I was literally watching, and I could literally feel the energy even through the TV screen watching it. It was like, and honestly, he was just so much fun. Like, and just like KSI said, like I do have some notes. He mentioned that of it being really entertaining. Simon even mentioned it was fabulously mad, and it perfectly describes this audition. Like, and it was just such a fun audition, and such a fun start to the show. Like, this is probably the most unexpected audition I've seen, and especially for an opening. It was really fun. It was a really fun audition, and honestly, I thought this was a very solid start to the series to kick off like that, like to get the entertainment value up already, which was very good. So kudos to Rumac, and we'll be seeing you in the next round. Again, I don't know, but I don't know if this is going to make it so far into like the semi-finals. So I feel this is like a deliberation. I don't see this act going any further, in my opinion. But of course, we'll have to find out once we do. But it was still very interesting. Oh, excuse me. Um, but it was still a very solid start to the series as well. I actually really enjoyed it. I actually very much enjoyed it. If I'm brutally honest here. So next up, we had 8-year-old magician Teddy, and honestly, when he mentioned he was going to do magic, I was pretty excited because I know over the years we've had many kind of like young magicians on the show. We had Killian O'Connor, we've had Izzy Simpson, we've had Aidan McCann. All those magicians I've seen on BGT over the years, and they were fantastic. So I was hoping it would be very good, and he was not only good, he was fantastic. So he's from Kent. He hails from Kent, and he's a schoolboy. So in the routine, he did this routine with a fizzy bottle and a champagne bottle. He asked Simon to guess his favorite drink out of the two options, and Simon said the fizzy drink. And then he got extra, and then he passed the young Teddy passed the champagne bottle to KSI. Then Simon was asked to shake the bottle, and then Teddy he mentioned, "Oh, I've got the fizz," and then Simon opened the bottle, and there was no fizz. He then made the champagne bottle fizz, basically put the cork off, and then started fizzing out, which I thought was really very impressive. And then what was next? And then he asked Simon. So next, Teddy got a box. He mentioned that he had a box of sentences that his mum didn't wasn't a fan of him saying. So he had a box. He asked Simon to choose one, and then he read the card out and put it in. He basically kind of ripped the card up in half, and then he took 3/4 of the card from Simon before actually making it disappear, making the cards disappear and make it appear in the champagne bottle, which KSI removed the label and it was on the card, which literally blew my mind when I watched it. And then he asked Simon, "Does the card match up?" And would you believe the card matched up to the one? Honestly, this I mean, talk about someone with great stage presence. Just it was. So, like I mentioned, and then the two pieces of the card matched together, and it actually matched the card, which just blew my mind. I have to say, for 8 years old to come out there with that much confidence, stage presence, and and the whole routine he did for this act was absolutely incredible. Like it just blew my mind watching this performance. Just and for him, like I mentioned, for 8 years old to have that much confidence in him and the way he commanded the stage, and his presenting as well was just incredible. I just think this young man is absolutely fantastic what he does. So honestly, I just oh excuse me, my apologies there. But anyways, this performance was absolutely fantastic, and like I mentioned, we've had many young magicians make it very far in the competition, and I could definitely see the same case for Teddy right here. So because I thought he was absolutely fantastic here, so a brilliant audition for you, Ed. A brilliant performance. I can't wait to see what you do next. I think you are fantastic, my friend. So next up, we had the act that was eliminated via the X's and was the worst act of the night, sadly, and that was Sarah and Meatball, who were a dog act. Now, firstly, I just want to say, whoever names their dog Meatball, that is just legendary. Like I want to name my dog Meatball one day. That's such a wicked name. And she's from Pennsylvania, but she had been living in London for the past 15 years, so good on her. So the routine actually started with excuse me, Meatball coming out on a remote controlled car, which honestly was probably the cutest thing I've ever seen. To see a little dog pretending to drive a car was just so cute, and then Sarah started to do some choreography to the Spice Girls wannabe. But sadly, the dog actually wasn't very interested in the act. Like, he just wanted to do his own thing, and even she was trying to encourage him, which I know she was trying to do. But sadly, this act completely fell apart from the start. I mean, the ending was very not the end. The intro was really cool to see them out in the car, but after that, I think the act completely just died. Like, it was just really, it was not the best act at all. Last night, it was definitely the worst act of the night as well. So yeah, I feel, I gotta give my kudos to them for trying. Of course, acts don't always go the correct way, but sadly, this was one of those moments that just didn't go right. So sorry, guys. Sorry, Meatball and Sarah. I thought you guys were, but sadly, it's one of those things. And sadly, they got 4 X's and they were eliminated from the competition. So yeah, sad to see them go, but that's one of those things. But anyways, that's that. Let's move on to the next act, which was Simon's Golden Buzzer with Vinnie McKee. And I have to say this now. I know this is the first episode, but I think already this guy really could be a serious contender to win this whole show. And I genuinely mean that, and I'll get to that in a minute. So, like I mentioned, we had 29-year-old singer Vinnie McKee, who's from Glasgow, and who has worked as a holiday park entertainer. And he kind of mentioned before he started performing that he worked at the same job from the last 11 years of his life. So he started doing it at age 18, doing the bingo calling, the game shows, and then this is basically before he started singing in the holiday parks, I believe. And so excuse me. Oh, excuse me, I'm very tired today. But I was hoping he was going to be. So after hearing that, I was hoping he'd be good, but I generally was not expecting him to be that good. So his performance he performed a completely new edition of 500 Miles by the Proclaimers. And I think we all know that song, the Proclaimers 500 Miles, which is we all know is a very happy-go-lucky song as everyone's singing along. But the way Vinny did this song, he made this song his own, and watching the performance just blew me away. From the moment he started singing, I was like, okay, I was not expecting this. And then once we got to the middle of the performance, he just skyrocketed, and it just. I even said to myself, if that's not a golden buzzer performance, I don't know what is. But eventually, after the big reaction from the crowd, Simon pressed the golden buzzer, meaning we're going to be seeing him in the live shows within the next few weeks. So honestly, this was such a well-deserved golden buzzer as well, and just his voice, I think, is absolutely outstanding. Just and to be honest with you, I don't think he's been given the break yet. Like you mentioned, he's been doing the holiday parks, he's been doing the bingo calling, game shows. But honestly, this performance, in my opinion, might have just changed his life, because not only I think he's to be real, like I generally do mean it, I honestly think he has got a real shot already of winning this whole thing. Like, he really could be a force to be reckoned with in the competition. Like, for me, this is like another Sydney Christmas moment, because last year, I know last year it was between for me Sydney Christmas and Innocent Masuku for the win, but that first performance in the auditions from Sydney when she did Tomorrow, the song from the musical Annie. Just, I don't, excuse me. Oh, excuse me. But like I mentioned, just that moment the moment she performed that Annie number in the first audition last year, and she got that reaction, you knew that she was going to be the true one of the contenders to win the show. And this felt like that same moment for Vinny. Like, he interpreted this song so well, and he made it just his own. Like, this performance here made me not want to listen to the original song anymore, because his voice is just so phenomenal. Like, and just I felt like I was watching a guy on the West End. Like, he is the type of person I want to see on the West End. He is that good. Just what a talent! This is the definition of a God-given talent he has. Just, it was absolutely remarkable to watch. And like I mentioned, I know it's episode one, but already I think he's going to be really tough to beat. He's going to be a real contender in the competition. So, yeah, again, just an absolutely phenomenal performance from Vinny right here. Just absolutely just incredible stuff. Such a well-deserved golden buzzer too. So, massive congratulations to you, Vinny. You so deserved it. Now, we're going to talk about the dance group from the Philippines, Obsequious. Obsequious. I think that's how you pronounce their name. I actually pronounce it Obsequious, of some, but I think it's Obsequious. But so they are a dance group from the Philippines, and I've seen them online, and like I've mentioned them briefly in my recaps. Not my recaps, but my everything. I mentioned them. I actually mentioned these guys in the trailer kind of breakdown I did a few days ago, on Monday actually, and then as well as the video I did on Thursday talking about the acts to look out for, and I mentioned these guys, and they were on last night's show, so which was brilliant. So they mentioned before the audition that they were actually inspired by the Diversity, who won the show about 16 years ago. Not 16 years ago. I'm just trying to think. Yeah, I was gonna say about no, about yeah, about roughly around that time because um, just just I. So okay, I don't know what I'm talking about, but anyways, they mentioned that Diversity were their inspiration to do this act, and I could tell by the costumes. I had a feeling this would be very good, so I couldn't wait to see the whole act. Now the performance started with like a little backdrop of of it basically mentioned rock and roll and some big graffiti on there, and they did a track to Sweet Child of Mine. It was basically a whole rock themed performance, which was incredible, and then literally just the performance started with this guy, one of the members, literally doing a literal flip in the air and landing. And it, honestly, that was the moment I was like, okay, we're in for a show. And it was a show. It wasn't just a show. It felt like a legit concert watching the performance. The whole rock themed routine I thought was incredible. The song choice they did to it was amazing. They did Axl Rose, they did Bon Jovi, and just oh my god, the choreography they added into this performance was just not the choreography, the movements, the backflips they did, the somersaults. Like this just blew my mind watching the performance, and and the fact that the first dance group on the show this year is just incredible. It's because I know, yeah, I know. I think last year, I think we didn't have a dance group in the first episode. I know we had the Lady Grenades, who are a cheerleading group, but still, this was just out of this world. Like it just blew me away watching the performance, and I think already in terms of the dance category, especially for the groups this year, they have really set the bar extremely high for the dance groups this year. So and if I dare say, not only that, but this is the type of dance group, the type of dance group I could honestly see in the finals of this show. Like I think they're that good. So yeah, a phenomenal performance audition for you from the Obsequious, and just a incredible first audition. I can't wait to see what they do next because I also think they could be really heavy hitters this year. So I can't wait to see what they bring because I think as of right now, I think they are a lock to make the semi-finals. Like, I mean the live rounds, but the same thing. But I just think they're absolutely sensational. And now we talk. It's time to talk about the most bonkers act of last night, and that was Japanese novelty act Akira, who is from Tokyo, Japan. And he kind of mentioned that it was his dream, kind of like to be on the stage, and he thinking that the royal family would like this act. Now, I think my first impression looking at he came out wearing a suit, and I wasn't too sure what he was going to do. But I think once when the crew were getting at the objects at the table, etc., I was thinking, oh, maybe he's a magician or something. I don't know. Um, but boy, was I wrong because he literally came out basically without any clothing on, and only had a metal plate covering his area, and he literally kind of did these like tricks to make it look like his area wasn't shown, and he basically flipped it and it had the Blackpool Tower on the other side, and then and then he basically did this with many other things. He did it with a beach ball with a bus as well. He did it with a box of tissues. That was crazy. Another beach ball. Just and then the last one was a tennis ball, which can I just say I actually didn't even realize it was a tennis ball. I thought it was an apple. I don't know why I was thinking a green apple. I don't know why I was thinking that, but it was a tennis ball. A bit of a fool for not actually just thinking that. But honestly, you know, just it was one of those acts that just made me speechless, and just like it's hard to describe the Japanese because sometimes the Japanese can come up with the most wacky, random acts ever imaginable. Like look at Tony Kaku from series. Oops! So sorry about one of my bottles almost fell over. What was I gonna say? Just I mean, like I mentioned, the Japanese can come up with the most random acts ever, like imaginable. Like it's just absolutely crazy to think that they can actually come up with that. They can come up with this stuff. It just is. It's undescribable. It's absolutely undescribable. But he's through. I don't know where this is gonna go next, but we'll find out when that happens. But I'm honestly very speechless right now to describe the act. I honestly cannot whatsoever. Hang on, guys. Give me a second. Okay, so about that, folks, I just had to. Doesn't matter. I just had to pause it quickly, but we're back on track. So, talk about the next act. So, the next act we had was probably the most intense, like gruesome, the most gruesome act of the night, without doubt. And that was Aussie Blood. His real name, Austin Ponton. I think that's how you pronounce it. And he's from Las Vegas in America, and he is a danger act. So basically, just honestly, this audition literally grossed me out from like the beginning, especially. So he basically stuck two wires up his nose, his left nostril, and then in his mouth, and he kept doing that multiple times, which just grossed me out. And then he poured champagne into a glass, and he put that through his mouth and his nostril, and then he asked Simon to literally drink the champagne through the glass in the act. So and which was super gross. And then to end the performance, he returns to the stage and just kind of basically lifted his body. He literally connected all the wires into his nose again, and he literally kind of like pulled himself upwards using that, and just literally did it back down. Basically, did it back down. And normally, these kind of acts just completely gross me out. I can always respect talent, but honestly, while I'm not a massive fan of this, I can honestly say from a watching the show, I thought he was absolutely fantastic what he did. The whole act, even though I've not found these acts, I still thought he was absolutely fantastic what he did. And for some reason, the audience was saying, "Oh, push the goal, push the goal." I was going to say, why would you want to press the golden buzzer for that type of act? Like, it's very good what he does, but still, and even Deck said it. Oh, if that's a golden buzzer, smash your face in, which was just, I mean, there was no way chance this was going to be a golden buzzer, but still, it was still a very, very strong act, very good way he did act, if that makes sense. And literally what Amanda said, it was horrifically brilliant. So yeah, that's that. And honestly, I'm kind of wondering if he's going to get to the live. Once he gets to the live shows, I'm wondering how this is going to come out. Like, how is this act going to continue? Like, I don't know. I don't know where this act's going to go. I honestly, I do not know how this act is going to continue. I really don't know. But yeah, all I can say, it was gruesome, but it was brilliant at the same time. That's what I'll say. Okay, next performance we had was Han and Fran, which I think they jokingly said themselves, oh, they're like the equivalent Ant and Dec. They are a singing duo. They come from North Wales, and they were aiming to be the first Welsh winners to win. Which I think, have we had a Welsh winner before on the show? I'm not too sure. Um, but at the time of their audition, they'd both been working in an office doing kind of like working, and then they kind of explained they were best friends, and singing basically brought them together and made them soul sisters. That was what they said. And the audition, they actually did a mashup of ABBA songs. So they did "Take a Chance on Me," "Dancing Queen," and "Mamma Mia." And coming from an ABBA fan, I'm a huge ABBA fan. I think we all love ABBA. We all love their music, but this was a fantastic performance. This was, I mean, okay, I'm gonna say fantastic. The audience absolutely loved it, but I mean, I feel like if they did something maybe like, I don't know, the GBs or something, I don't think they would have got a bigger reaction than that. I mean, they maybe would have gone through, but maybe would have been a little bit critical, but still, this performance was very, very good. I liked their voices actually together, and the medley of songs that they did as well were very good, because man, I wasn't actually expecting a whole ABBA mashup. I mean, when they did "Take a Chance on Me," I was like, okay, they could do this song, and then they started doing more ABBA songs. Like, okay, I'm in for it. I mean, of course, coming from an ABBA fan, you know, just you know. But anyways, I really, really actually quite enjoyed this performance. Like, so I'm excited to see what they do next, because like, is this like their thing? Like, do they only do ABBA songs? Because if that is, that could be a little bit repetitive, and it could maybe fall out with the public a little bit. But I don't know. But we'll definitely find out when further down the line. But I still thought they were very good. They're both actually really good singers, and their voices were actually very good together. So very good. So a very very good audition for them. And finally, we have to talk about Anton Deck's Golden Buzzer, also a very well-deserved Golden Buzzer as well, even though I wasn't expecting it, for impressionist Will Burns, who, so for a bit behind the scenes, Bruno actually was on this morning, the talk show this morning, and they actually showed him doing his act, a little like it was about 30 seconds to a minute of this act. And I'm saying, I had no idea he was the Golden Buzzer. They didn't even tease Anton Deck's Golden Buzzer. Like, I knew Simon's Golden Buzzer was gonna be in, because but he's from Leeds. And he kind of he mentioned that he was a BGT fan of the show. He'd been a fan for the show for basically all his life, and he mentioned he had birthday parties, a themed bedroom, and even had his own little bobblehead of Simon, I think. And so the audition started talking about, he said, Simon, you're my main inspirations, and it has you leaving an impression. I think he said something like that. And then he started impersonating Peter Dixon, who, for those who watched the X Factor, he was the voiceover artist for the X Factor when that was on the air for years ago. So that was him, and then he actually performed "Don't You Want Me" by the Human League, which even though I never heard of, and then he started doing impressions of Craig Cash, David Attenborough, Gary Barlow. I think he did Deck as well. He did Deck's impression, and he even attempted the Alicia laugh, because Alicia's a very iconic laugh in my opinion, especially with the teeth. Especially with a lot of them just that was awful. But if you heard Alicia's laugh before, you would understand. And Marcus Bentley, who was the voiceover artist for Big Brother. I don't watch Big Brother, but I know he is the voice artist of that. But the whole routine I thought was absolutely incredible. He was so entertaining, so energetic, and what I love about it is that they don't tell you who they're going to do, which makes it even more better in my opinion. So, and he nailed the impressions. He absolutely nailed the impressions as well. So this, and then after the performance, the audience were chanting for the golden buzzer. And honestly, I literally went this blind as well because I had no idea he would be getting the golden buzzer. And it was they never teased in the on the episode. Here's still to come. They didn't show Anthony Deck pressing the golden buzzer whatsoever. They didn't show that. But in the end, Anton Deck came out and they pressed the golden buzzer, and you can tell by his reaction he wasn't expecting it. And honestly, he's just I just think he is absolutely fantastic. Just a brilliant comedy impressionist. I could I said this yesterday, but I could see him at the Royal Variety. Like, he is the type of headline act I could visualize at the Royal Variety. He is perfect, absolutely perfection. Brilliant. And Alicia mentioned that he could go all the way, and Amanda said that he could win the show. And especially because the comedy and singing has been dominated for the past 2 years. Because since season 19, we've had not season 19, 2019, we've had either singers or comedians ending up winning. So, which is because we had Colin Thackeray, who's a singer. We had John Courtney, who was a comic singer. We had Axel Blake, who is a comedian. Vigo Vem, comedian, and Sydney Christmas, who was a singer. And I just think he's got a real shot as well. This whole episode was probably the perfect first episode for me because so many good acts were on this episode, and just two brilliant golden buzzers, and this was one of them. So a massive, well-deserved golden buzzer for Will. I thought it was fantastic and just absolutely brilliant audition, and a very well-deserved golden buzzer. So that is it for week one for the Britain's Got Talent auditions for Series 18. Let me know in the comments below if you got your thoughts on BGT for week one. And honestly, it's really gone on to a very, very strong start. Like, last year was fantastic. Last year, like I mentioned this before, the talent last year was absolutely superb. And now, watching this, I also found this amazing. Just watching the performance was, the whole episode itself, apart from the dog act, and even Akira, it I can see being kind of polarizing in a way. You either like him or you don't like him, but still, the whole episode was really good, and I just can't wait to see what next week brings. So I know next week KSI is apparently pressing his golden buzzer from the promo, but we'll find out who he presses it for, which I'm very looking forward to seeing. But that's it for this week's recap of Britain's Got Talent Series 18. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts on the episode, your favourite acts. And of course, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe with notifications turned on. I would really appreciate that. But of course, thank you so much for watching this video. And of course, I'll see you guys next time.